Just put some charts on while we up here. What's up, Marshall? What's up, Cody? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Hello?
What's up, bro? You can't hear me?
Yeah, I hear you know it's good, bro.
Shit, I'm cooling, dog. What's happening? What's happening?
Cooling, bro. Just, trying to tap in with everybody. How you doing, though, bro? You good?
About ready to make some bread.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What you trading tonight?
Anything. What y'all on?
Ain't talking about anything. What you on? Shit. I'm really waiting for GJ, bro.
DJ?
But tonight more so like a team meeting. I don't really want to. We're gonna talk about trading, but we're gonna talk about like what's about to happen with this next little run. Let's see. Let me get
DJ? 1 second, bro. Hold on. Are you looking at gold?
Yeah.
Oh, from that level 1, bro. If it sticks, man, I'm looking for. Oh no, boy. Look at that long-term move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we looking kind of ugly.
Yeah, I don't like how it look. I want to see it retrace some more before going. You know what I've been working on? Just being more patient, like with everything, like and waiting for the candle closes.
Yeah, I'm finna keep watching this shit though, bro, because listen to everybody, inflation is supposed to turn around to Q4. We still in Q3.
Right.
So this might just be a pullback to the high time frame, bro. And that's why the 4 hour might be still looking the way it's looking like for a downtrend because of inflation. It ain't Q4 yet. Inflation is still it's getting better, but
yeah, I think it's just a cycle going on. I don't think it's really like getting better. I think they just like pumping money into the market and taking money out, just moving the money.
yeah, that's what I feel like that is. Just a little move, pump, a little pump. I mean, you never clearly for sure know though. Shit can always change, man. But
Right. Okay.
we need some goddamn. Our people need the money though. They hurt.
For sure.
Consumers, that's what everybody keep talking about. It's time for the consumers. I mean, we've been stepping up, but it's kind of hard on us because of taxes and stuff. But to get the dollar back rising, bro, it got to come from the consumer side.
Right. But doesn't it also deal with like what the liquidity providers or the people that run the community do like with our tax dollars, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, all they coming in time to play too. You know what I mean? 'Cause, I mean, that's the shit that we study, man. That's how we operate on market charts. Period. The liquidity areas where I be trying to, the imbalance. You know what I'm saying? Same. It's just like damn near the same shit. Liquidity and imbalance. I mean, but they still got their ways. They still manipulate the market. But
Right.
I want to see some real strength.
Hello?
In the dollar, man, so to get them cryptos.
Yo,
what's up?
I think he was trying to say something. Oh, he must have been on the phone. Yeah, I think he was on the phone.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, for the most part, though.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear y'all.
Oh, yeah. Well, along those lines of what he was just talking about, like with the taxes, right?
Huh?
I was saying along the lines of what Marshall was talking about with the taxes and having the consumers, use their money and allocate their money in the right way to put money back into the US dollar. Like that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring us together today. So like we're entering a whole nother cycle. We're entering another quarter, right? So a lot of stuff is changing so fast. One, like he was saying, inflation is super high. Two, you got countries they're deglobalizing the US dollar right now.
Oh my God, fast too, and ripping shit up.
And it's happening so fast.
And now that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, I just don't know. Like, shit, just
bro,
everybody is on that. Nobody knows, bro. Everybody predictions
exactly, and
is
they're
neutral.
like covering it up in a way like nobody
Yeah,
speaks about what's going on. So
real
I
for
wanted
real.
to bring us together today because we have to make this the conversation. We have to make this the culture. So in order to make this the culture, we all have to come together and be one, like one family within this space. So we can we can thrive instead of survive this next cycle that's about to happen. Does that make sense?
Man, it makes a lot of sense.
That,
Connect the
that
like minds, everybody on the same page and studying the same information. Like,
right, right. Davion, CP, Wiggs, Kevin. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm listening.
I mean, I know y'all think like Brian, it's a. I know y'all probably think like Lou's gonna play a part into this game and stuff like that. But a lot of this stuff that's happening right now is it's a lot of it coming from CPI, PPI, and RPI reports. You can all read them reports on ForwardFactory.com and it'll help you understand where inflation and all this stuff is going. I mean, completely dead on, bro.
Right. And with him saying that to piggyback off what he is saying, the economy is tied heavily into what we got going on. So we have to utilize this technology and utilize the tools that's provided to us so we can become our own bank and thrive in the next recession that's about to happen. That's already happening.
Yeah, man, because I mean, the Q4 gonna be the real test for everybody to see if everybody gonna be trying to buy and hold for long term. 2024, 2025. I just listening to them today. They really don't even know what the turnaround gonna be, bro. They were saying 2024, now they talking about 2024 to 2025. I don't know if that means like they gonna retest the yearly lows and stuff like that, and then try to push the market back up and try to change everything over to CBD, CDs, digital currency coming into place. I don't know, bro. I'm trying to see how
How
this
do
stuff
you
gonna play
think
out.
how do you think that CBDs and regulation is gonna affect the space? I wanted Kevin to
It'll
answer
do
this as well.
shit. It'll get consumers working. I'm ready for it to go, bro. Because
Kevin, how do you think CBDCs is gonna affect everything that's going on within the space? That and regulation.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think Fed now is being rolled out in July, right? So we'll see what the effects of that will have on the market. But in all, we'll have to. I haven't really been following like what's happening in the CBDC market outside of the United States in particular. But I know that there's been like somebody sent me a report from Citibank, and they were talking about cryptocurrencies and the rise of cryptocurrencies and saying that it'll get its rise from CBDCs. So meaning that they're saying that in other countries, expect these other countries to start rolling out their own CBDCs. So I don't know, in terms of
So
if they
let
do
me
that.
ask you this: Do
Yeah.
you think that's gonna be good for the space with CBDs being rolled out, or do you think it's only gonna be good for the bigger players, the whales, the institutions that's involved? Like, who do you think is gonna have any benefit to the people like us, like the average retail investor?
No, so anything that they do is not, in my opinion, is not going to be anything that's going to be benefiting the masses, right? From my opinion, anything that CBC, whenever you hear that, it's still going to be about control, right?
Definitely.
The reason why they don't beat the drum, if you will, about Bitcoin, right? I was watching a document, not a documentary, I was watching a news show, and the guy was in a broadcast talking about hedges and blah blah blah, and the guy had said that he could see Bitcoin as being that, and then they just kind of just blew right on past that and started talking about some other stuff, right? So they don't. The point I'm making there is that Bitcoin, whether like it or not, that it's it is uh, 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 a currency that, it can't be inflated, it can't be deflated, and it can't be controlled, right? So the point I'm making there is that they're not going to be advocating for any kind of currency that's outside of their control. So CBDCs, I don't know how they'll be able to get the adoption unless they do it through um, just unless they do it through law, meaning that that the governments of the world will say we've introduced our own CDBC, and now you can use this CDBC as a form of payment, basically making it legal tender, right? But I don't know if they were to do something like that, would they turn around and try to ban other cryptocurrencies? I don't see them doing that because any move that they, in my opinion, that they make towards that end is only going to increase adoption in the space because we talked about this before. All the naysayers that talk about cryptocurrency talked about Bitcoin and how it's Warren Buffett's of the world, it's rat pools and blah blah blah, and then they turn around and come up with a CDBC. Like it's you can't, in my opinion, do that and then like be against cryptocurrency or digital assets and then come out and say now we have our own. To me, I see that as having a negative effect. So again,
Right.
the question is that sure they can create their own. I'm not sure how they can get the adoption other than saying it's like they can make it legal tender, but I don't know how they will make it so that people will adopt that, right? They can come out with something, but how do they make people use it? Is a question that I don't see the answer for right now.
Right, right. That makes sense. So you're basically saying that with them trying to, it's kind of like them trying to sweep it under the rug, but still use it. It's gonna expose more people into it because it's like sparking curiosity. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah,
Especially-
because once they start saying, "Oh, hey, we got our own digital currency," and the people gonna be saying, "Well, hey, because more and more people, once they start doing that, it'll start more and more people become like us will become advocates saying, no, you need to be getting Bitcoin as opposed to this CDBC, and then that will give you an opportunity to explain why the CDBC is not good for the masses, right? I see them doing the same thing with the CDBCs that they'll do with any fiat currency, right? So they'll set the system up so that those at the top will experience the Cantillon effect. So that those that's the closest to that will benefit that, and then the masses will never really get any true benefit. I don't see the CDBC as being any kind of bashing of hope for the masses of people, no more than I see the fiat being that today.
Right, right, right. Voyages. V Money. What's up, V Money? V.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. What's up, V Money? How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm
It's
doing
V.
good. Yeah, it's V Money.
What up, V?
Yeah.
Got for us today, V?
I was gonna ask her like, how does she feel about regulation and how do you think it's gonna affect the people versus like the higher authorities within the space?
Well, if I'm being honest, I mean, I can speak to it on both sides because regulation gives them the masses a peace of mind because let's just face it, people are followers, and when they see other big corporations doing something, you know, basically piggybacking off of what Kevin said, it's more adopted, it's more convenient, it's more comfortable for people to use, when things are quote unquote regulated versus when they're unregulated, you know, people like us right on the phone, like we understand the seriousness of, what's going on right now with our economy. But some people do and take advantage of it, and then shit goes left, and then it scares people, and then that fear comes in the market like all the time, and then there goes the adoption that sinks. So it's almost like in a sense, people need regulation, but then we may not want regulation because of how it can, like affect us as the retail investor, like how you said, Web. But
Right.
everybody on the same thought process. So you have to go for the majority here, and regulation could definitely help the adoption of things. But for like us, being that we know better, I still feel like we should continue our educational piece on, speaking on how being exclusive and not having to, be regulated can also be beneficial if it's done the right way and people
Right,
respect what's going on in the space and not like abuse the shit. Cause that really where the fuck I be at all the time.
right, right. So how do you think that the average person or the average or a person within our community can prepare for what's about to happen? Like, how can we prepare?
See, they have to. So most of the problem is that people of most of the world in general doesn't understand our monetary systems and how they work.
Right,
So that's where the biggest education is, right? Like most people that have, any sort of fiat currency, they don't understand how that works. They don't understand how inflation works, right? And so right now, most people um, are not feeling the pain of inflation that people in,
You got Apple
Nigeria,
Pay?
South Africa, those kind of places, they don't feel
Got
that
Cash App?
pain. Um, so so
I should have upgraded.
Huh?
I should have upgraded.
I hear
I
some back.
mean, Apple Pay would be better, but you got Cash App, right?
I sent the cash out.
Oh, you already sent it?
Yeah.
To where?
The phone call.
Which one?
Gio, you can mute your phone.
Yeah, I was trying to pause until it sounded funny, but
yeah, I just muted them.
yeah, so that's where the biggest catalyst needs to be, because that was what it was for me, with the introduction of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I've learned more about the Federal Reserve and economics and inflation and all that other kind of stuff, how that works. So that's where I see the biggest need, in terms of getting people to see, because once you can show them how money works, and then you can make those correlations to something like Bitcoin, and then you can make another correlation to a central bank digital currency. People begin to understand that, but I think it's going to be hard right now because people don't feel the pain of inflation. Like places like Argentina, see, people are looking for an exit ramp, right? When you can be paid, in like places like Argentina, you get paid at 9 a.m., and then by 5 p.m., your currency, the value of your currency has dropped, 60%, 70%. See, they feel that pain immediately. So as soon as they get their, I forget what their peso is, but as soon as they get that money, they're looking for a way to put that into something that's more stable. So you have many people putting that money into Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, or they're putting it into stable coins, something like that, other than holding it in their country's native um, 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 currency, which can be debased at the whim of the current, at the whim of the government. So the American people in particular are not feeling that pain right now. They don't feel the pain of inflation. I think they feel something, right? But
They ain't felt that in full effect just yet.
yeah, they haven't feel the full effect. When all of a sudden, bread is $15, right? Then maybe I'm saying, and eggs are $8. More and more people start to ask questions about, hey, I'm making the money that I'm making, but now it costs me 3 times what it would, you know what I'm saying, to buy the same goods that I could purchase with less money two years ago, so, as an example. So that's my thoughts on that. They don't feel the pain of inflation right now.
I
Right.
feel that's what you Kevin.
V.
Or before they adopted Bitcoin as their currency to utilize, because that same concept that you just said on how basically the value of their currency would drop by a certain time, they're ready to kind of get rid of it so that they can use it for something else. Same thing over there. But I do feel like just like how you said, everybody needs to be able to feel that pain. So when it comes down to the CBDCs being offered in different countries for people to feel comfortable to use them, it's almost like that could be a safe haven for them because they see how their currency value keeps dropping. So they want something else. And if their quote unquote leader is offering a better solution, people are more open to be adopting that. But again,
Maybe,
I said
maybe,
retail
maybe,
traders is almost like retail
Why do you
investors.
say maybe?
It's just important to just educate as much as possible.
maybe,
That's what I'm saying.
Why do you say maybe though? Can you elaborate?
because in those countries, those people know that those people know that their countries, like they know why they many, I won't say all the countries, but many countries are aware that they're in the situation where their currency is being devalued. They know what's behind all of that, right? And so I think that if the same people that are responsible for that currency devaluation is now going to come out and say, hey, we got this new thing that's going to be better, I think people are going to be skeptical of that, in my opinion. The ones that are aware of that, right? Because
But I always say, and
yeah,
what's going on, we have to evolve and adapt, and not be so blinded by change, because if you don't change and evolve, you're gonna get left behind. It's inevitable.
I just feel like I feel like the CDBC is a trap. That's what I'm saying, right? They'll come in because that's how they always come in, right? They come in as saviors, right? We're going to come in and we're going to make things better for you. But if you think about that in general, in terms of history, in terms of governments, that
they create the problem and sell the solution.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So they create this big mess, right? And then they know that the people are hurting and they want a way out, and they come in to say that we've offered a solution. And by the time that the people wake up and realize that all you did was bind our ties even tighter, right? That's what I think the CBCs will do in countries where they try to introduce that. And I think eventually it will backfire. And I feel like that might be a catalyst, if you will, for something like Bitcoin. We just need to be able to be educated enough in both areas to be able to show those different dynamics, because you don't want to like force feed it to someone, like, you know what I mean, but you want to give it to them in a way, right, to show them the differences, and then you let the people decide. But Bitcoin, like I said, in particular, and there might be other ones out there, because I'm a fan of anything that's proof of work, right? Anything that's proof of work, will not suffer under the things that our current fiat system, like that was the whole purpose of Bitcoin, right? Was to say that, I forget the saying that, Satoshi Nakamoto wrote, to say that, hey, the way the history has shown that the people entrust the governments of the world to not debase their currency, but history is replete with evidence that shows that has not been the case, right? So we don't think, at least from my opinion, we don't expect that's going to change.
Why wouldn't it change though?
Because again, so the thing about it is, what would be the incentive, right? If a country has, is in a position where they're forced to be, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but if they're forced to devalue their currency, right, that's the problem, right? The countries of the world, their currencies are devalued. So, for example, let me give you another example. Well, you can either use Argentina, you can use Nigeria, you could use any African country, right, that has raw materials and resources that the world needs, right? So what happens is that they go in, the IMF and the World Bank, they go in and they offer the country loans for infrastructure, right? They say, we're going to give you a certain amount of money to build up the infrastructure in your country, right? And that could be roads, that could be schools, that could be whatever it is. But when they offer them that loan, right, then they have stipulations with how they have to pay that back. And in most of those cases, one of the stipulations is that they have to devalue their currency, right? And then the other stipulation is that they have to take their loan not in their native currency, but they have to take it in dollars, right? So they loan them $1 billion. I'm just using that as an example, and they have to pay that $1 billion back in U.S. dollars, not in their native currency. So at that point in time, the country is crippled with a debt that essentially they know they can never repay, and so usually when the IMF or the World Bank institute these policies, they're called austerity policies, right? So they institute these policies, and one of the main things they do is make them devalue their currency. I mean, this is documented in the history. This is not conspiracy theories. This is not things that I'm making up. You know, you can read about it. And
I get everything you're saying, right? But like, what is the real benefit of a country devaluing its currency? Like, wouldn't that typically make their country like weaker in resources?
That's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole point. So the whole point is that
you said they're giving them they giving them money so they can build infrastructure. That's the benefit to them, right? So that's why they would
yes
do it, right?
And no. Well, yes and no. But here's the thing, right? When they give them money to build up the infrastructure for their companies and for their countries, the people that build that infrastructure, that build up all that infrastructure, that money goes to outside the country. So they pick firms in Europe and in France and stuff like that. They're not like the money that would be used to create those jobs and build those infrastructures. It doesn't go to the people in that country. It goes outside. So in essence, what's happening is they take that money to build up the infrastructure, and then the wealth is being extracted out to the Western world. So all of our standard of living that we live in today is happening because these same policies that are happening wherever the world's resources are needed, the same script is being played. And so we enjoy here in the United States, for example, a higher standard of living, but that's because the wealth is being extracted from other countries. And that's why in those other countries, as a part of those programs, as a part of those deals, they make the country devalue their currency. And so they just keep doing this over and over and over again. And so the country is in a situation where they can never be able to repay the debt, because what they'll do is they say, well, we can't repay it. And so they'll go in and they'll give them another loan to pay off the debt that they, like it's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, it's definitely a Ponzi scheme.
So many people in these countries that are at the bottom that are feeling that pain, they know that, right? And they don't know what to do about it, and they're looking for off ramps. So that's why in many countries you'll see people trying to place a ban on cryptocurrency because they don't want the people to have an off ramp. Any person that goes in and starts talking about their own currency or moving away from a certain standard, they're assassinated.
They can't have nobody going again. That's messing their money up in context.
Well, again, the control of the people is control of the money. Like whoever controls the money, they're running things, right? So the leaders in those particular countries, they've seen the blueprint in history. Like if you go against that, then you're gonna be assassinated, or there's gonna be a reason for them to come in and drop bombs on your country, right? Like I said, this is documented. You can read Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He breaks it all down, right? He did this as an economist for many years. And then Lords of Poverty is another book you can read that talks about how all of this stuff is engineered by certain organizations, right, to keep certain countries poor at the expense of people that live in, I'm gonna call it the Western world, people in Canada, France, Europe, United States, right? We have our standard of living because the wealth is being extracted from somewhere else. So here's the thing: is that the dollar is in and of itself, is all so the dollar is reigning supreme because it's the world's reserve currency. So even if there's a CBDC, I don't know how that's going to play in the world of the dollar, right? Because right now, the dollar is the world reserve currency, and when they set that up, that means that for example, oil, right? When people want to use oil, all that stuff is denominated in dollars, right? So I don't know how I don't know how those two are going to play together, right? I haven't really studied that aspect of it. But right now, the dollar is still reigning supreme because it's tied to, it's the global reserve currency. Anybody that takes a loan from the IMF or the World Bank, right? Again, that loan has to be paid back in dollars. Anybody that wants to purchase oil, they have to purchase oil in dollars, right?
Right. So since they're moving away from the dollar as like the global reserve, like is that gonna affect the, like how you saying everything is converted into US dollars. So say
Whatever.
say the Chinese yuan becomes the global reserve, or Bitcoin, is everything gonna be measured in that? You get what I'm saying? Like the conversion.
So the thing is that if these countries form, right, like if they decide to break that, that'll probably lead to war, to be honest. If they decide to try to break that, then that would be disastrous for the United States, right? And then at that point in time, everybody would actually feel that pain, right? Because inflation would be through the roof, right? Because they would no longer be able to export, the wealth of the country. The wealth of other people's countries to the United States. I think we talked about this the last time we talked about that was people start sending those dollars back to the United States, right? That's not going to be good for the U.S. economy, right? And we'll have hyperinflation, and that's what, to be honest, that's what would be required, in my opinion. If we experience hyperinflation, I'm not saying I'm advocating that, but if we experience hyperinflation, then we will be feeling the pain that people in other countries feel right now. As long as you can still go get a cup of coffee from Starbucks, you might complain a little bit that it's $6, but you ain't really feeling no real pain. You can pay your car payment, you can pay your rent, you can pay your mortgage. I'm saying, like your money is, when you get paid today, right? At the end of the day, it's pretty much the same for the most part. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
dropping, right? It's not dropping like it would be in a place like Argentina or somewhere else, right? It may be less worth by the time you get paid, but not to the degree where you actually feel it, where you know what I mean? So
Definitely.
again, if that money, if we ever experience hyperinflation, then people will be looking for exit ramp. Unfortunately, that's the way I see it, because then they'll be like, hey, what's going on? I got paid today, and by the time I got by the evening time, I'm essentially broke, because I only have enough. I'm only have enough money to, right. Like you might get paid at 8 a.m. and you have enough money to pay your mortgage, and by 5 p.m. you only have enough money to pay for bread, right? When they feel those kinds of pains, then people will be like, I need to find something else. And so that's what you see. I always use Argentina because Argentina is a good example of that, where the inflation is so bad that, and it's happening in other places. It's just that Argentina comes to mind because that happens a lot. But in those countries, those people are taking that money and they're either putting it in Bitcoin or stable coins, USDC, maybe or either Tether, and maybe other cryptocurrencies, because that is a better store of value than having keeping their wealth in
intact.
in their
The
currency.
the call is about to end. I can send another link, but just to wrap up this call, with everything that's going on, we have to prepare and we have to come together. No matter if we're a student, no matter if we're an educator, no matter if we're just a member, like we have to come together and put all our resources in one pot, because when this happens, we want to be able to thrive.
You